Splitgate is an absolute blast as a fan of Halo, Call of Duty, and classic, Unreal-style arena games, but it can be challenging for those coming from more modern shooter titles. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through some of my tips and tricks for getting better at Splitgate, as well as unlocking more of the skins and camos and things like that in the game more effectively. I think these two kind of go hand in hand, and I hopefully will be able to help you out if you're just starting or you've been playing for a while and just looking to take it to the next level. I'm Addy, and welcome to Lost Saves, and for context, I'm currently Diamond 3 in Ranked Splitgate, working my way up to Masters. I've only just kind of done the placements. I'm honestly not a huge fan of the Ranked Portal Frenzy mode, but I was Diamond 3 this time. I was just normal Diamond last time during the Season 0 rank season. So I've put quite a few hours into this game across PC and Xbox, and been thoroughly enjoying it the past few years. And I just kind of wanted to share how I got to where I am and how you can improve your gameplay while also unlocking more of the cool skins along the way. I just wanted to say, if you're new to Splitgate or you are thinking of playing, if you join up and start playing, if you use my referral code, I know this sounds super salesy, but if you use my referral code, you get 50 Splitcoin, even if you've played before, as long as you're under level 10, I think. You get 50 Splitcoin once you hit level 10 to use to boost your double XP boost, to, redeem towards your dailies and things like that, or to buy skins with. So go for it. Helps us both out. First and foremost, when it comes to basic just kind of FPS control here, even if you're used to other shooters, this game plays a little different. Splitgate is a game with a really fast TTK, or time to kill. It's almost a kind of twitchy shooter, more akin to Call of Duty or some of the Halo titles, where it is mostly hit scan, which means wherever you shoot or where your bullets go, there's not going to be a whole lot of drop off or leading shots or anything like that, and you can drop enemies in as little as 2 bursts if you're landing headshots. Compare that to some more, shields and extra health-based games where it really takes multiple people shooting a target to take them down, and this game moves really quickly. But unlike most, arcade shooters that are twitchy and fast TTK based, you have a lot of movement potential because this is an arena game. It used to be called Splitgate Arena Warfare. You have jetpacks, you have fast momentum, you have sprint, you have portals, you have verticality on the maps, and so there is a lot of kind of moving and floating around alongside your twitchy, fast-paced shooting. And so you have to have your head on a swivel to start really taking down enemies, especially in the more competitive playlists. And with this, you need to start aiming not with your mouse, but with your WASD keys. Now, I have found myself, I tend to use fairly high sensitivities in a lot of first-person shooters, and I have found that with Splitgate, I have slowly started dialing my sensitivity down more and more. I play on, I believe, 600 or 400 DPI on my gaming mouse. I personally use the Glorious Model O. I have the wireless, the black and the pink, just because I love the mouse so much and I have different setups I play on. Aim for a lower sensitivity, and instead of trying to flick your mouse, people talk about aiming with your wrist versus your arm and using, what kind of grip you have. With a game like this, that doesn't matter so much as aiming with your movement. And this is something I picked up a lot from the Halo days that I don't necessarily use in, say, Call of Duty, but I do use it in Halo, in that when you're trying to land those headshots, especially with the battle rifle and the DMR, because it is so precise and the hitbox where your bullets are going to land is so small, you need to be aiming with your movement, which means you need to get really good at strafing. Now, this is something that was a cliche, typical FPS tip back in the day that I heard over and over and never really did right, because it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and I was mostly playing on controller back then, and you can do it on controller now as well. But especially with the keyboard and mouse, this means as you are trying to shoot an enemy, you are effectively, now there's more control to it than that, but you are effectively button mashing the WASD keys. You are trying to add in sporadic random movements, and including a little bit of crouching and jumping if you want as well, although you want to jump kind of at the end of your fights rather than the beginning, because if you jump at the beginning, you have a very predictable path that enemies will be able to just shoot and take you out, because you have limited mobility once you're in the air, because there's no thrust or anything like that. However, you have the ability to use either your left thumbstick on controller or WASD on PC and add that sporadic movement to where you're changing your position in regards to your enemy, but you can also use that to fine-tune your aim. So think about it. When you're fighting an enemy, this is typically happening on a 2D plane. Obviously, it's a 3D game. There's verticality involved. There's depth as well as the X and Y axis. But realistically, if you're in a standoff with someone in a BR fight, you have left and right to move. Forward and back does not change whether someone can hit you or not. Only left and right does, because there isn't really bullet drop off. So if you just run forwards or backwards, the bullets are going to go to your head either way. So you want to add in some of that variety in terms of your left and right movement, maybe adding, I would typically use S more than D in terms of like doing some loops going backwards, crouching, anything you can do to add in enough randomness that it makes it difficult for the enemy player to predict your movement and to land those headshots. But while you're doing it, instead of struggling, wobbling your mouse all over the place trying to land a shot as you yourself are moving sporadically, you can use that to counter their strafe, because especially once you start fighting, higher tier players, they are going to be strafing as well, and you can try to match their strafing cadence with your own to make sure your crosshair is landing on their head. You have a little bit more fine-tuned movement with your mouse keys versus with your keyboard than your mouse, in that every little tiny movement, even at lower sensitivity of your mouse, is going to move your crosshair. And it's very difficult to just move your crosshair, for example, left to right to match your enemy. You're going to be going up and down, and you're going to lose that headshot space. So my secret tip here to wrap up the strafing thing is, when you're in an intense, strafing BR fight, use your mouse for the up and down movements, not for the left and right. Don't use it to turn your camera unless you're literally turning, pivoting 45, 90 degrees to the left or right because there's other enemies there. If you're just shooting at an enemy in front of you, do not turn your mouse left and right. Only move it up and down and use your A and D keys, or again, translate this to the left and right thumbsticks on your controller. Use that to move to the left and right. It will take some getting used to. The biggest thing with adjusting your performance in first-person shooters is that it will be a slow progress. You may feel worse before you feel better, but once you start aiming with your movement instead of your mouse, you will have so much better results. Let's talk about unlocking things real quick before we get into more performance tips. So there are 1,000,001 skins and unlocks to achieve in Splitgate, and if you're trying to get something special like the gold weapon skin of a particular weapon, you'll want to you'll want to be leveraging the tools the game gives you to unlock these things. So for example, you have featured playlists and weekly challenges, as well as your daily challenges. So the daily challenges will be like, get 3 headshot kills and win 2 matches in Team SWAT and whatever. Play those, complete those daily challenges to continue to make general XP progress and level up your battle pass and things like that, and you will obviously be put in kind of a variety of play sessions in general, because if you typically only play TDM or a couple playlists, it will force you to play either with different weapons or in different playlists just by nature of completing it. But then the weekly challenges take you even further, because it's going to be more focused on particular modes or methods of playing that you're not used to. Then every week or so, there's a featured playlist that is kind of a custom configuration. So for example, recently we've had Team SWAT Objective. Now Team SWAT tends, from what I've heard, I haven't verified this, but from what I've heard, Team SWAT doesn't always count credit for your BR stats, since it modifies how the gun works, so it doesn't count all of your gun specific challenges, just like I think Instagib doesn't count all of your railgun challenges. And so a featured playlist like SWAT Objective actually does work towards those. So you leverage those bonus playlists not only to unlock those extra skins and help you get better modes. For example, the one that I just played at the time of recording was Super King of the Hill, Super King of the Hill, which was super fast speed, crazy floaty gravity, and everyone had an unlimited ammo shotgun. That made it a lot easier not only to unlock the skins or, make progress towards the gun-specific challenges for the shotgun, but it also got me a lot better at the shotgun, because I'm using it way more often per match and just for my session on the whole. And since I am tracking those gun-specific challenges with regards to this event, then I am, learning the more nuanced way of playing to get, say, headshots with the shotgun, or trying to spread my shots so that I'm getting collateral kills with it to complete that challenge. Things like that. It will seriously challenge the comfort zone you get into with how you play the game. It will increase the variety and fun that you have, as well as improve your skills in particular modes or weapons, and it is super underrated. Now, in terms of just your overall competitive performance, I have a few final tips here. First and foremost, if you're not playing ranked mode, I would obsess over portals left. Now, I have been working towards my gold skins for different guns, and most of those involve getting kills through portals, and so I have actually been learning to use and leverage portals more by forcing myself to just constantly work with them in order to get those kills. And some of the daily and weekly challenges will be like, go through X number of friendly portals or enemy portals, and so that forces you to get used to it too. But for your average gameplay in normal modes, I see so many people obsessing, standing still or walking awkwardly trying to get the portals right instead of just focusing on killing. And realistically, Splitgate has all these cool extra mechanics and ways you can play the game and tools available to you, but you are going to perform best when you remove as many of those distractions and keys to fumble over as possible. And if you just focus on shooting and finding where enemies are, you're going to find yourself, for the most part, doing a lot better. Now, don't entirely ignore portals. If someone has a portal at the top of the map that they're sniping everyone through, you want to grenade it or try to take them out or whatever. But don't obsess over the portals, as I see so many people doing. Again, it's different for the ranked mats, the Charlie, Foxtrot, Delta, whatever. Those you got to be super portally, although I think people still focus too much on portaling like crazy on that map instead of shooting, and it bites them in the butt every time I play. But that's worth keeping in mind. And then, honestly, speaking of the tools available to you from Splitgate, save your sprinting and your jetpacking for escaping combat, not for arriving to it. The biggest mistake you can make is sprinting around the map and jetpacking around the map before you have found an enemy, because it just makes you that much more obvious to the opponent. Because some maps don't have radars, and some that do, you're going to be way more present on the radar when you're sprinting and jetpacking. And this game has huge sound cue indicators, and when you're sprinting, you're going clunk, 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 clunk across the map, and you are super easy to hear. Whereas when you're just walking, or crouch walking even, you are much more difficult to hear. And the same thing with the jetpack, it makes a lot of noise. So you are just alerting the enemies to you before you have any awareness of them, and immediately putting yourself at a disadvantage in painting a target on your head. Whereas if you save those tools, especially since they're limited, save your sprint, save your jetpack, save your portal for escaping fights, so that you use them after your enemies already used them to get to you. And if you can't win the fight and you're trying to get away, you still have your jetpack and your sprint saved up and your portals ready to rock, then you're going to have a much easier time getting out of fights that you are getting, teamed up on or whatever as well. I know that some of these are basic and simple, but I see players that I'm playing with, again, even in Diamond 3, making mistakes with all the time, and just wanted to share some tips and tricks for you. I do hope you enjoyed. Check out my other Splitgate videos linked below. Remember, be kind, rewind.